Hello and welcome to That Band Life. My name is Jeff Young from Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Bobby Lambert, Director of Bands at Wando High School in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. That Band Life, a podcast to help us be less stressed and more organized, become an accomplished communicator, improve relationships with parents and students, and feel more relaxed and organized, and be part of a community. That's not our real tagline. I
like your new intro, though.
Well, I'm reading it from our podcast thing on Apple. So
I like it, though. It's different than the podcast about making your career as a music educator more fulfilling. So you can be happier, healthier,
and more creative.
More productive and more creative.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. See, that's why I can never remember it. God, I need to like just a sign in my office. Yeah.
Absolutely. But we did actually do our homework this time.
So. Yeah, like we're ready, everybody.
Unlike usual, where Bobby has like 4 bullet points. You know, we got 10 this time because it's October.
It's October, and Jeff sent me this yesterday, and I read it and felt ashamed for 4 of them because I'm right in the middle of it, and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't done that yet. So, Jeff, tell us. Well, you get us started. You do. Please talk about plume bags, and then tell us what our show's.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, if there's some last minute things you need, somebody just ordered a plume bag yesterday. I'm not kidding.
Fantastic.
Yep. We sent out some gloves and shoes this week for Taylor out in California, who's been on the podcast late night before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so we got those out, but still have all the products and actually new ones too. So not only do we carry DSI products, but we also carry Style Plus now. So that's cool.
So if I wanted to find that, where do I go?
Dynamicmarching.com.
Boom.
Click on store.
Our marketing team is on the ball this week, everybody.
And make sure you say hi to Philip, who's doing all of our sales now. So because Bobby and I don't know what we're doing in that regard.
That is correct. All right, Jeff, tell us about our show today.
Okay, awesome. So I do know that some people have 1 week left in their season because I've talked to some people. I know we were out in Oklahoma judging a couple weeks ago, and they had 2 weeks left. So here we are. And I know there are a lot of people who go, Florida Championships are first week of November. You've got UIL at the end, beginning of November. You've got Grand Nats second weekend in November. So there's quite a few groups who have lots of time left. So what we thought we'd do today are tips for winning October, or 10 for 10 is the name of this podcast episode. And let's go ahead and get started. I think the first thing to remember, and this is going to sound so dumb, but you're being scored by 7 judges. Let's remember 4 of them are musical and 3 are visual. So what does that tell you? Your score will go up the most if you focus on your what, Bobby?
Music.
Exactly.
There it is.
Technically, there's an 8th judge who does timing and penalties, but as long as you read your rule books and you keep your parents in check and you don't wear illegal badges and, all those silly things that have nothing to do with the kids,
right? That
shouldn't be an issue. But Bobby, what do you think? You got 1 week or 3-4 weeks left. How can you make your music better?
Absolutely. So here are a couple of things that we literally did in the past 2 days in our rehearsal that helped us out. We've been becoming more acclimated with the music. The kids are feeling comfortable with the choreography, with the drill, and with their parts. And so now we're realizing, okay, the tone is suffering because of the intonation. We haven't really stopped to tune things just like we would in a concert band. So Lenny Radicke, who's kind of over our music, yesterday, literally rehearsal we have a big E-flat major chord in our closer. And she had everybody run in. She played the tune, the sounds on her phone, had them hum it, had them sing it, had them play it at mezzo piano right there. And then, step back, play again, and just trying to get all of the things justly in tune, meaning lowering the third, raising the fifth, and all those kinds of fun things. So literally getting down on the field, pulling everybody in and saying, let's really tune that and make that go. If you can set up your harmony director outside, which a number of groups do, that's another great way of doing it. The second thing
is that more of like a listen to each other and tune in relation to each other, not get out your individual tuning apps?
No, because the weather's going to be different. We all know as it's getting cooler, the later you are in the evening, the flatter the part's going to be. The really tough thing is that the keyboards up front, the electronic ones are set to usually 442. Your percussion instruments are set to 442, but then when it gets colder, they go higher. So you're really kind of diverging pathways in this. So the idea of just making sure that you are opening your ears and knowing what the tendencies are and doing the best you can. I've judged bands in cold and I don't lose my mind, but I do hear a difference between the bands that are listening versus the bands that are not.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I would talk about, intonation is a big one right now. The second thing I would talk about is dynamic contrast. That is one of the biggest things, and we're going to talk a little bit later about that in musical in effect. But that is one of the biggest things that you can do right now to give yourself a bit of a musician's head start. At this point, everybody knows their music pretty well that you're going to see, but how musically are they playing that music? I think that's a different kind of animal. So the idea of saying, I want you to be ridiculous right now. If this is supposed to be piano, I want you to be almost compromising your tone. It's so soft. You'll find the kids actually play it exactly where piano is. And then, okay, this is supposed to grow to triple forte. I want you to play that ridiculously strong without compromising your tone, but I want you to overdo it. Find the breaking point. If they don't know where the breaking point is, they'll always go over it, especially when their hearts are in it. And I just played from the heart. Whenever I hear a band,
like figure out where ugly is on your horn and bring it back 4%.
Yes, exactly right. So that's why we don't do a lot of pep talks before they go on the field, because it's like, no, you're exactly where you need to be. We've rehearsed it like this, not okay. Now let's really put our heart into it. That's a recipe for disaster right there. You may feel good about it at the end, but you never want to listen to it again. So I think those are some of the at least two musical aspects that we can bring to the table about knowing exactly what judges are listening for.
And you can do it right now. You don't have to change the music. You don't have to edit anything. You're just dealing with what you actually have. Yep. So that's good advice. And the whole point of this is, remember, we're being judged, and music is most of the time, 60% of the score, right?
Well, effect is definitely 60% of the score that's there. Music effect is a larger part of that effect score. So that's where you can really make or break yourself. The ensemble, I think, shows clarity and individuality, or the individual judges really kind of speak to our curriculum. And is it really being passed around to the entire group? The effect is a little bit more of what's the overall picture. If I'm sitting in the audience, this is how this is, quote, affecting me. And which leads us to point 2 as well.
Well, before we get to point 2, though, episode 70, if you want to go back and talk about or listen to all things judging, we did a whole episode on that 5 episodes ago. That's more of the details on like how exactly scoring happens and all that. So check that out if you want to. The second point, as Bobby just mentioned, is GE is 60% of your show, and can literally, the GE judges can call the show, right? Not that they want to, they're not trying to make, that sort of thing happen. But if one group is considerably more effective than another, that's going to make the show. And I actually had a band director say to me the other day, we really need to add some GE. And I was like, like almost like pat them on the back, like they're there.
We should add a little more salt to this. Can we spice this up just a little bit?
You really can't add GE, can you, Robbie?
Not really. I think the GE questions have to be asked and answered back in June, if not sooner. And it took us a while to learn that.
Yeah. Michael Gray, who works with the Wando Band and Bobby works with all the time, he actually did a video for us on our dynamic marching video series on GE. And I love the way it's these little short 3-minute clips. Please go watch them.
Yeah.
But he talks about like, this is the student's responsibility. And in that section of the video, he's specifically talking about GE. The student's responsibility is to elevate the written work. So, as a whole, you're asking all of these young people to take these notes and rhythms, this drill, this choreography, this flag work, and take it to the next level. And so I think this is a good time of year to talk to your students about what does that mean to elevate the written work. And sometimes it's facial expression. Sometimes it's emotion that you're putting into your music. Visually, there's a difference between, when you see a student who's executing choreography as a dancer would and as a robot would. There's energy and there's excellence to that at a level that's really hard to explain. But I think the best thing you can do visually is show somebody doing choreography with GE, like you just watch them and you're like, whoa, I would watch that, that on TV, that's a performer right there.
One of the videos that I use with our kids almost every year are some of those head cameras from different groups performing. There are a couple from Texas. The Blue Devils usually have one that's there where you're actually on the field with the kids and you can see I tell them, like, I'm not interested in what the crowd looks like. I'm interested in what the people around them look like. And when they see the looks on their faces, even the win players and the nuance and all the things that are there, that really kind of brings that to life. So that's a great idea, Jeff, of going and finding some really exemplar material that says this is what performing with GE means.
Yeah. Do you ever do the confidence walk with your students?
Oh, we have started this year, the schwalk, as you call it. And yes, because we knew we were going without Shakos this year. And I said, we can't look like high school kids on the field. We have to exude. And we talk about it being a demand of confidence. It can't be we think we're okay. As soon as you do that, it's done. The mystery is there. It's almost like someone who you remember that show. We used the example of The Masked Singer. Have you seen that show, Jeff? Imagine if somebody's mask fell off, because the whole thing is the allure of, like, I have no idea who this is, but they sound great.
Yeah. And
then you wait for the big reveal, and that's what it is. If you knew already who it was, it wouldn't be that special. So that idea of really demanding and being that character from the moment you walk on the field until you leave is pivotal.
Yeah. And for those of you who haven't heard it before, all that is just when you're doing across the floors with your students, just ask them to walk 3 or 4 yard lines as the most confident version of themselves. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And as you do it over and over again, they start coming up with, like, their persona or whatever, like, I'm an NFL athlete getting off the bus in my $3,000 suit,
right?
That kind of vibe.
Oh, we don't even get that complicated. One of my favorite ones that I use that they get really quickly is I say, let's pretend that you just ran into your ex and you won the breakup. Walk down the hall as if you won the breakup. And, like, immediately, even kids where I'm like, have you ever been in a relationship before? But they know what that feels like. They know that idea. And while, that sounds a little negative, it sounds a little egotistical. Yes, that's correct.
Walk in that stadium like you own it.
Yes.
And then continue that your whole performance. That's number 2. Number 3, focus on what the judges have already said about your group.
Yeah.
Now, a caveat there, you might not see some of these judges again during your season, and you might not completely respect or appreciate what they said. So you kind of have to, like, separate the wheat from the chaff there. You got to go, I don't want to hear this one, but I know that person knows what they're talking about and I need to listen to it,
right.
Or this person, not going to see them again. Don't agree with what they're saying at all. I can ignore that. But, if you've heard something 2 or 3 times from different judges, probably ought to get that fixed pretty quick.
I think one of the other things, and I'll go ahead and say this is not 100% accurate, but usually when I hear certain judges, I often will go and listen to their groups, even if they're retired. Like, what were their groups like before they retired? And if I like the sound or like the look, then their words kind of change for me. Now, that being said, there are a few judges out there that have studied the art and craft of judging and evaluating. And so they really can tell you where the issues lie. They may not always be able to tell you how to fix them, but they can tell you. So maybe getting to know, like, okay, when this judge was here, they were incredible. Or when they were there, it wasn't great. But that doesn't mean that they don't know how to help me get us better.
Mm-hmm. It's like pointing out an error is different than knowing how to fix it.
That's exactly right. Yes.
I definitely could tell if your band is out of tune, but I'm not a music teacher. So
absolutely. And sometimes we get ear blind, don't we?
Yeah.
We were talking about intonation before. We can get a little ear blind. So anybody can help us with that.
Yeah. Number 4, low hanging fruit. Fix the easiest things first. There might be a whole list of things where you're like, these are all the things that are wrong with the show. Fix something that's easy, like better foot timing is possible this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you can you can dedicate 20 minutes of marching fundamentals time today, even though the last 2 weeks you've been putting the closer on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can you do to improve foot timing? Just, work on it.
We turned the
one.
metronome on last night again on our opener. We haven't done that in weeks. And it was kind of like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
We thought
everybody's forgotten their openers lately.
So. That's correct. So going back and really polishing that, and it took us 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I think guard transitions are low hanging fruit too. Although I don't think a lot of band directors would agree with me. They're like, but this is what the drill is that we were given. That doesn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
Your drill writer works for you. Right. So like if there's a guard transition where you stop the opener and 12 guard persons ran off the field and put their equipment down and then ran back on, you can't do that, right?
Right.
Like that's not okay. That ruins the flow of the show. No Broadway musical would ever just have every cast member leave and then come back on. It's like, come on.
I'm laughing because I love it because band directors, God love them. They have their list of things, and if it falls outside that list, no matter how serious it is, they can kind of, again, turn a blind eye. I was working with a band a couple of weeks ago, and like they had a really, really bad transition. This duet of flags, they looked beautiful. They were doing great work. And then they had a transition. I want to tell you what it is, but that's happening. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? Are they okay? The band director looks at me. It's like, what do you mean? I was like, your two guard, the duet look incredible. And then the crowd starts to acknowledge them, and somebody sets their hair on fire and they bolt to the back of the field.
Run away.
They just run. I was like, is there some sort of social anxiety? And when they saw it, they couldn't unsee it.
Yeah.
So that idea of getting some more eyes or just watching the video and seeing like what kind of catches your attention. You know who's really good at this?
Who?
Jay Webb.
Oh, yeah?
Right. He and I judged the BOA contest, I think 2 years ago now, and I was sort of the music GE person. He was a little bit more we were both doing music, but he was like, well, Bobby's going to tell you how to fix all this stuff, but here's what I'm seeing. And he called out, like, as soon as he pointed out something, everybody in the room, myself included, were like, oh no. Like what? How did we miss that before?
Yeah.
So it's imperative that you get some eyes on it and that you look at it with a critical eye. But it is an easy fix.
Well, yeah, and sometimes the easy fix, comes to mind something I judged last weekend where there are 12 guard in an arc in the back of the field.
Yeah,
and then there's 2 guard members in front of the snare drums, but they're doing the same flag part as the people in the back, and it's like. Your eye just goes, something's wrong now.
This isn't working.
And so take those 2 out or move them to the back.
Yeah.
It's so easy to take 2 people out of a small phrase of flag work, right?
Yes.
But if your eye goes, something's wrong here, it's off balance.
Right.
It probably is.
Well, Jeff, can I take us into your next point, number 5, aligning the guard with the sound? I think every year I keep learning more and more, and I'm kind of like, how did you not see this before? But when you're not thinking about it, when you're so fixated on the winds or the winds and percussion, you can kind of ignore what the guard's doing. And then when you actually do step back and watch it, or go watch another band, what do you notice first? Usually the guard.
Yeah, I mean, are you playing a fast passage and the guard is lyrically just moving slowly, or the opposite of that? Or, are there flags with the snare drums who are doing something, but they're actually interpreting what the winds are playing behind it? There's some easy things where I think band directors naturally focus on what they can fix, which is the drill and the music. And then you have to acknowledge the fact your guard instructors are human. Right. Sometimes they don't get it right.
Well, sometimes you change things too.
Yeah. Or writing to the MIDI. That's something Danny and I were talking about the other day, is when you write guard parts to the MIDI, some things sound important that in reality are not. Like that little ding of the triangle in the front ensemble actually ended up being not a featured part of, but in the MIDI, it rings out. And so they've got a toss on the ding. And it's like, no, that's not important.
Jeff, let me ask you this question right now. Considering everything we talked about, music, visual, guard, GE, how much do you think caramel rewrites on any season. So of course they've got Michael Gaines and Richard Saucedo doing some of the design right there. Brilliant. So we know that it's good.
Oh, I know for a fact every bit of music is changed.
Yeah.
Every bit of drill for the guard is changed. Now for the winds, it's a little more, Michael Gaines is very, it's very precise. So I would say there's not a lot. We've moved things back 4 steps, or we've, changed something to a flutter that was marching, but drill wise, maybe less so, but definitely guard pathways, guard staging, wind parts constantly. I know they're constantly editing the percussion book,
right?
Adding four bars here, taking away 4 measures or 4 beats, and
right. We're still doing that, and I think there was a time when I used to be afraid of doing that.
Yeah.
And then to realizing that going back to the low hanging fruit, there's a rhythm that our woodwinds have. It's a triplet quarter note, and they play this melody about 3 or 4 times throughout the show, and one time it's with a triplet bass, and it's literally just 2 beats that are quarter note triplets, and we botch it every time. We do the typical longer note, really quick note, and I was like, why are we doing this? Let's just change it to the one the one that we had before. And we did. And it was like, okay, done. We could have spent 15, 20 minutes trying to really round out the triplet, and it may or may not have lasted. Probably not, because we've done it incorrectly for a long time.
And do you think that hurts Jay's feelings?
No, not at all. Not at all. Now he does get a little irate with me if I change some orchestration in a chord.
Oh, really?
He's like,
okay.
Why did you take that down an octave? I'm like, well, because you're the only person on the planet who's going to know.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And remember, all of your designers work for you.
Yes.
Don't forget that. Even if they do get upset, you're like, no. This is what works for my group.
Yes. I'm redoing my kitchen. Yeah. This is the backsplash I want.
Yeah.
You may think it's ugly as all get out, but this is what I want. And unless you're going to pay for it, I get what I want. And it's okay to feel that way. At the same time, I think being smart about, of course, with all things, don't get pompous about it and get opinions. Don't just say, well, I think it's this, let's do it. Man, talk to your staff, bring somebody else in, get help.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Number 6, it's time to start giving specific feedback to a specific student. No more saying from the tower, trumpets, you're out of time. Nope. We're past that.
Yep.
Hey, Susie, God bless you. Your feet are slow. How do you fix slow feet? Speed up my feet. Yep. That's how you do it. Good. Okay. Do it again.
Yep. Last night, I caught myself almost. I said, percussion, we're losing time right there. And I was like, no, wait a second.
Hold on.
Tenors, you are slowing down the 3rd bar, count 3 and 4.
There you go. Yep.
Can you fix that for me? Yeah. Great. Let's do it. And I think the kids appreciate that, honestly, now at this point.
Yeah, same things when you're doing your fundamentals at the beginning of a music rehearsal, or at the beginning or with the visual rehearsal, It's okay to, we always talk about throwing darts, a name and a fix.
Yeah.
You can do it real fast.
Alfred Watkins used to tell me that, like, when he would get close to, if he was performing at Midwest or Grand Nationals or whatever, he said about a month before, he'd sit down with the entire band and just say, kids, Mr. Watkins loves you, right? Does everybody in the room know that? Okay. Now it's going to get serious, and I'm going to be direct, and it's maybe going to feel sometimes like I don't care about you or even dislike you. But let me understand, if I disliked you, or if I didn't care about you, I would say it's all okay.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine when I know it's not. I show you my love. I show you my care by being precise, being clear, and having the standards that I know you can reach, even if you don't know that yet. So understand that's my way of hugging you.
Yeah.
Is by holding you accountable. And I that's stuck with
Tracy
me so
Gaslin,
long.
She's with the Alliance for Camp Health. And she came in and talked to us before camp last year. And she said, remember, growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
Yes.
If you're unsafe, that's way different than being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So talk to your parents if you're unsafe. and you're truly being bullied, which is 1 out of every 1,000 examples of this.
Yeah.
But uncomfortable is fine. You're going to actually get better there.
I hate to take it, but I had a young woman get teary-eyed in my third concert band this morning. And it was simply because she had been frustrated with this part. She's playing part of a solo, and we kind of took it apart. And I said, okay, everybody, we're going to clap the rhythm with her, and she's going to align herself with us, and we'll make it go. And she's still struggling with it. And I told her, I was like, honestly, you're not going to get it right now because you've learned it incorrectly. And so we all understand that. You have to understand it. And if you get angry with it, it wins.
Yeah.
It's an inanimate part.
Yeah.
And to express anger toward it doesn't do anybody any good. It actually just hurts you. But if we can just see it as, okay, I didn't get that today. I've got the first thing I do tomorrow when I warm up is that. The last thing I play tomorrow is that. First thing the next day, last thing the next day. I said, honestly, by Saturday, you won't even remember that you messed it up.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. And I could tell that I talked to her afterwards. I said, I hope you didn't feel like we were being angry. She was like, no, I just can't believe I missed the part. I can't believe I learned it wrong. I said, hey, did you use a metronome when you started it? Silence.
Nope, skip that step.
Okay. I said, okay. And honestly, you'll get this. No harm done. But now you know, moving forward, how to really set yourself up for success. And that was a great conversation. It was awesome.
Yeah. All right, number 7, show day success. We have a whole episode number 61 on this. So we can go back in the archive, but you got to practice the sequence of how you're going to do your music warm-ups, your visual warm-ups at a show, even how you get off the bus.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to throw out one thing that 3 of my clients were kind of astounded by this, and all 3 of them reported back, oh my gosh, this helped so much. Where is the run-through in a rehearsal? I think we oftentimes will do our warm up, all the things, then we'll work for an hour or 2, and then we'll do a run through at the end, which is absolutely not at all what a show day is going to be like.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we literally will say, like, okay, we have 15 minutes of split. 15 minutes of visual, 15 minutes of split, 15 minutes of concert arcs. Then we're going to walk around the field once. Then we're going to do the full run. And we're going to do it with pushing props on. Then we do our on-field warm-up.
Pushing the front ensemble on, all that.
Because, there's so many things that they need to, that can distract.
Yeah.
The kids may be completely ready to perform the show, but they've never walked to the lot, pushed their prop on, set themselves up on the 0, and then watch for the drum major to start.
Yeah. That's good. That's good advice.
Thanks, man.
I mean,
every once in a while,
at the end of the rehearsal, you're tired, and it's not going to be as good a run, probably even.
Well, but the truth is, you've had time to assimilate some stuff. You've had time to kind of get your feet under you, which will never happen in a prelim situation.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like we've got to be able to hit the ground running and give it all we've got, and then we'll go back and start to clean and try to make that go.
I think it dovetails really well with number 8, and it has to do with electronics and amplification. So this is kind of a 2-part thing. How can you fix this in October? Practice pushing on, plugging in. Matt Black always says, like, this one student has one responsibility only. Right. Don't be like, okay, everybody plug everything in. No. You're plugging in that. Period. No. And this parent is only going to push this on. They're not going to touch anything or whatever it is. Practice that.
You have to script that and choreograph that almost as intensely as any major moment of the show.
Yeah. Like if somebody's absent or sick, who's going to do your part then? What's, what do you call it? Like the influenza or what, what do you call it?
We play breakout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Exactly right. I love it.
And then the other part to this, and this is something you can work on in October, is if you're doing Bands of America show or UIL or Florida or South Carolina, Indiana, whatever, what is their philosophy on electronics and amplification? And I know BOA has a philosophy statement out there, which is not a rule. It's different, right? It's not a penalty-based thing, but it's like, we want to hear what? They want to hear, the organic sound of an instrument. They don't want to hear your top 7 players with mics on.
Right. Dum dum dum. This honestly, Jeff, this needs to be a show.
Yeah. Let's do a whole
Because
show on it. We got to bring Matt on though, because I don't know enough about it.
Our guy here, Matthew as well, Matthew Kilby.
Yeah. Let's bring on the Matts.
Is genius about it, and they've thought through it as intensely as you have thought through how to play B and C sharp on a clarinet with which pinky. Mm-hmm. They have thought about this, and I think it's pertinent right now.
A good person knows. Yeah, I just dealt with this again in Oklahoma. I was talking with a front ensemble person, and I was like, "You took all of the beautiful sound out of the saxophone.
Right.
All I hear is a kazoo now."
Yes.
And I'm not even a music judge, and I'm hearing like, I know that kid's an incredible player. If I stood next to him in the band room, I'd be like, whoa.
Yes.
But through that microphone and that setting and that EQ, it sounds like a kazoo.
That's right.
Not okay.
That's right. I think the idea of I need to be, I'm going to go ahead and say it, Texas loud. That's it. The volume is there because of intonation and tone quality and color and yes, amplification. If you don't have the intonation and the tone quality, the amplification is not doing you any favors.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do more on that later.
Yeah.
Number 9, check your assumptions. I know a visual example of this. You probably have a music example of this, Bobby, but I went in and did a clinic and I said, so what style of marching do you guys use? Just so when I come in, I know what I'm dealing with. And he said, very straight leg, low heel through the and count. And I was like, great. I love that. You know, I also teach something similar to that. So cool. And then I watched them do fundamentals and I was like, nope, that's literally the opposite of what you're doing. Love you. But, and the director was like, yeah, that is what we taught them though. And it's
well,
like,
apparently
cool.
not.
And it's like, yeah, we can work on this. And we did some exercises to get that back from them. Right. But those students had been taught the straight leg technique, because when I started breaking it down, taking it slowly, they were like right with me.
Okay.
But like in reality, when marching drill sets, nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Okay.
What's a musical example of that?
I think musically saying that everyone is articulating the same way at the same time. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely not happening. Mm-hmm. And here's how you can find it. Okay, let's do letter A to letter B, kind of a 2D moment or lots of people playing. And let's just hear the freshmen and the seniors. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back and do that again. And let's just hear the juniors and the sophomores. Mm-hmm. You'll already find discrepancies.
Sure.
Go even further, one class at a time. Seniors first, then juniors, then sophomores and freshmen. Or by concert ensemble, let me hear the first and last concert bands. Let me hear the ones in the middle. And you will hear vastly different things coming out of the group.
Yeah. Jordan the other day on the field, we were at Brownsburg, and he said, he was talking about this choreography moment, and he goes, students, on the da, I want you to do this. And Chris on the mic goes, students, we all know Jordan just articulated that incorrectly, right? It's supposed to be a slur between the second two notes.
Which is probably something they had been working on.
Yeah. That was a pretty funny moment.
Absolutely. I do think that idea of, and when you can really do this about a month after your season's over.
Yeah.
And we talk about reflecting at the end of the season and going, okay, I've got the video here. If I could go back and do it all over again, what would I do?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Well, we should do another reflection podcast in about a month.
We've come up with like 3 show ideas here. We were sitting here earlier talking about what are we going to do. And we're like, I don't know. I'm not sure what we want to do. We've come up with 3. So fans, all 12 of you, hold us accountable with that.
Yeah. Don't let us go like 8 months without doing a podcast.
Yep.
Well, we're on the number 10 for October here. Completely forget the names of your competitors right now and do not speak their names until it's all over. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have to really elaborate on that, but it doesn't matter what they're doing. It does not matter at all.
No, I would tell you this whatever your last 3 to 4 weeks of the season are will determine your retention for next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you want it to be all about whether we beat band X, Y, or Z, and if we don't, you're going to lose a lot of kids because you've defined success that way. They weren't successful. No one's going to pay fees, give up a lot of their time to fail.
Yeah.
So
only you get to decide what success looks like for your program.
There it is.
Don't talk about them. Just fix you.
Well, and it's a thing of like, hey, we're doing this together. Last night was so fun. I don't run all of our rehearsals here. I usually do probably about a third, especially this time of season. And I've gotten to do 2 days in a row, yesterday and today, and because we were on the asphalt. So we don't have a tower, we don't have anything. So we were all on the field together working, and it was so much fun. Yeah. Like I felt like I was having a conversation with the kids rather than giving directives from up on high and sending down the tablet from the mount.
Yeah.
But it was
just everybody rowing in the same direction.
Yeah. Hey guys, did you hear this? And they're like, yeah, I did. Okay. We've got to go back and fix that. And then there were some times where we did something and I was like, no, that's still not enough. Still not enough. I mean, I love you. And then what was great, we have a big arrival in the middle tune, and we keep kind of wanting to put it's set up beautifully to be loud and strong and powerful, but we're just not doing it. We give up too soon. But the last note of the entire show, they're just absolutely pouring all this great sound out into the universe. And I asked them, so which was louder, the ballad or this? And they're like, oh yeah, the closer. Yeah.
They're both supposed to be they're
supposed to be the same kind of arrival point. And when you know it, the crowd really knows it, and the judges do too. And they're going to wonder, why did you make them wait that long?
Yeah.
So it's about you, not anybody else.
Yeah. That's our 10 tips for winning October. Not for winning shows necessarily, but winning October. And I hope it was helpful for you. We'll dive in deep on some other topics. We have some interviews in mind coming up soon too. We'll keep you posted on that. And Bobby, best of luck in October. And I will see you here in November.
You'll see us up in Indianapolis. That's going to be fun.
So until next time, I'm Jeff Young.
And I'm Bobby Lambert.
And this has been That Band Life.